Good evening. Hope everybody is doing all right. Huh. Kind of one of those weekends that thankfully things didn't get too out of control. Not at least from what I've noticed, there's been the typical increases of whatever you don't call it. Things are continuing to escalate, but thankfully, that I noticed there wasn't any. There was a couple of things that are definitely notable. We'll be going over those. So, I do got some tabs up, not a ton. I figured we'd kind of make it kind of an easy night since we've got 4 billion headlines to read through. But I do have some headlines up here, some tabs open. I figured I would go over some of this stuff with you. Oh man. Oh, I hear you there. I kept an eye on news and stuff over the weekend, but I didn't go too much. I've been it feels like a break not watching all the convoy live streams and stuff like that. It almost feels like a break. Because when I start following stuff like that, I follow it. I don't just kind of half-ass it. I do what I can to know what is going on, and so I will spend most of my time with one or more streams open, trying to keep an eye on things. So now, since I put that on a on the trash pile, so to speak, for now. I haven't been watching the live streams, so they're headed back to Washington, D.C. now, apparently. So for anybody that's wondering, they're on their way someplace in Idaho tonight. And I don't know. I think they might be there a couple of days or so. I don't know. But other than that, I haven't really been keeping up on it. Trying to think there's anything else. I can't really think anything. Damn. Sinuses are going to give me a fit now. Alright. That's a little better. Okay. So I'm just gonna kind of jump on in here. This I heard about. Several cars of BNSF train derail and catch fire west of Minot. This is North Dakota. It says here several train cars. I can't speak. Several train cars caught fire after at least 7-Eleven. I can't speak at all. At least 11 cars. I don't know where the hell I got 7-Eleven from. Of a BNSF train derailed near Burlington, North Dakota. That is just west of Minot. No injuries are reported. The railroad said in a statement that the train derailed between Minot and Des Lacs around 1 a.m. And here's the part that is relevant to us. Rail cars containing paper products and frozen foods caught fire. So, while I'm sure it's not just gonna completely devastate food supply lines or nothing, it's yet another hit on those supply lines. So kind of crazy. I didn't know they shipped frozen foods on rail. So guess you learn something new all the time. Thought this was kind of interesting. This article came out, what day did it come out? Yesterday. Increase in FBI spying on Americans is revealed. Says here, Federal Bureau of Investigation made queries into almost 3.4 million Americans between December 2020 and November 2021, the U.S. intelligence community admitted in an official report on Friday. The FBI said it was looking for foreign hackers, but civil libertarian groups called it an enormous invasion of privacy. The FBI alone made fewer than 3,394,053 queries of U.S. citizens in that time period related to information collected under the controversial authority to spy on foreigners. The findings were made public in the annual Intelligence Community Transparency Report released by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The electronic data was collected legally under Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA, the document claims. According to the ODNI, the number is due to a large number of large batch queries related to attempts to compromise U.S. critical infrastructure by foreign cyber actors in the first half of 2021, which included approximately 1.9 million query terms related to potential victims, including U.S. persons. This accounts for the vast majority of the increase in the U.S. person queries conducted by FBI over the prior year, the ODNI said. There were fewer than 1.3 million such queries in the December 201 is what it says, to November 2020 period. I believe that's supposed to be 2019, according to the same findings. My understanding is that some of this was about researching and doing investigation into political. You know what I'm thinking, right? This whole article, I'm sitting there thinking, January 6th. Anyway, try that again. My understanding that some of this was about researching and doing an investigation into potential hacking. And so, but I will get you more from the FBI after this, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki on Friday when asked about the revelation. So she'll circle back. The American Civil Liberties Union has reacted, calling the FBI's behavior an invasion of privacy on an enormous scale. Today's report sheds light on the extent of these unconstitutional backdoor searches, and believe me, if they can get their chance, they will do a backdoor search, and underscores the urgency of the problem. ACLU Senior Staff Attorney Ashley Gorski said in a statement, "It's past time for Congress to step in and protect Americans' Fourth Amendment rights." So, and I'm not going to go through what all FISA process and all that. So, but, yeah, so that's going on. I have a sip of tea here. I mean, I'm sure you probably weren't too surprised at that. I wasn't. I was like, huh? They probably told us about a third of what they really did. I mean, because I trust the government's numbers and all. Why, we have to. They even have a Ministry of Truth now. They can't lie now. They can't. They put in a specific department to make sure that they can't lie. So, I ain't worried anymore. Hell, I can close up shop. Alright. Yeah, and by the way, for the title of the show and the thumbnail, I don't know. I was looking for something. And so I thought, well, you know what? That looks like a mostly peaceful protest right there. So anyway, violent May Day clashes in Paris. Says thousands of protesters packed the streets of Paris on Sunday to mark May Day, an annual day of demonstration by socialists and trade unions with masked Black Bloc anarchists among the crowd. Violence and vandalism soon followed. At least 5,000 police officers were deployed to the streets of the French capital, backed up by armored cars and water cannons. This year's protest came a week after French President Emmanuel Macron was reelected, and with around 250 demonstrations planned in the city alone, trade union boss Philip Martinez calls on citizens to take to the streets and make the protests as massive as possible. Leftist leader Jean-Luc Mélenchon, I'm sure that's not how you say it, called on his followers to oppose Macron's planned pension reforms and marchers held banners decrying the centrist president's plans to raise the retirement age to 65. Amid crowds of peaceful marchers, groups dressed in black and wearing masks soon scuffled with police. Tear gas was fired, and video footage showed officers tackling suspects to the ground, while another clip showed a group of heavily armored officers charging protesters who pelted them with projectiles. So, it says rioters smashed a McDonald's before police arrived to protect the restaurant and other businesses, including banks, insurance firms, and at least one real estate office were also targeted. Protesters piled building materials and trash in the streets before setting these barricades alight. Some of the fires sent choking clouds of black smoke into the air. Says it is unclear how many people have been arrested thus far. Protests have also taken place in a number of French cities, including Lille, Nantes, Toulouse, and Marseille. And if I even got one of those right, good. Let's see. So that went on. See, and what did you do? You didn't do nothing fun like this today, I'm sure. But the day's not over. Let's go. Grab a gas can and let's go. No, I'm kidding. Don't. I'm not inciting anything. Fill up your lawnmower and mow your damn grass. Leave Little Caesars alone. All right. Oops. Sorry, I should have. Hang on. Ah, lovely. Huh. And hey, what's a week without a new threat from Little Rocket Man? North Korea issues fresh nuclear warning. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has promised to take decisive action and crush any hostile foreign power just days after saying Pyongyang would advance its own atomic arsenal at the fastest possible speed. Well, I'm sure they could get with Australia, United States, UK. They can work something out. Speaking after a meeting with senior officials involved in organizing a major military parade earlier this week, Kim pointed to growing threats in a world where powers clash fiercely and keep getting stronger, including in the nuclear sphere, arguing that overwhelming might is the only guarantee of his country's security. In order to preemptively and thoroughly crush all threatening actions, including the continued and aggravated nuclear threat by the hostile forces if necessary, the party's Central Committee will firmly maintain the absolute superiority of our revolutionary force and continuously raise it, Kim said, as cited by the state-run KCNA. The remarks follow a pledge from Kim earlier this week to continue to take measures for further developing the nuclear forces of our state at the fastest possible speed, insisting Pyongyang must be ready for a nuclear deployment at any time amid steadily rising tensions with the United States. And then the rest goes into the history of this year and before. So, one second. Sorry. So you got that going on. And, of course, what would be an episode of the Watchman News if we didn't talk about Russia, Russia, Russia? Hey, you know what? I don't know if I want to say this. I was going to say, at least it's not COVID. But COVID, I don't think, had any possibility of making our asses glow. So, man. All right. Let me have another sip here. A couple of vapes. I'm not in a hurry or nothing. Oh, fun times.
still vaping on pink Starburst. Yum, yum, yum. Gonna have to make some more juice before long. Alright. As you see, Russia tightens cybersecurity rules. Says here, starting in 2025, Russian state-owned entities will be prohibited from using information security tools produced in unfriendly countries. A presidential decree has been declared. On Sunday, Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a law that aims to boost the country's information security. The document, which has been published on the government's website, says that state-controlled entities will be prohibited from using information security tools originating in foreign states which commit unfriendly actions against the Russian Federation, Russian legal entities, or individuals, or produced by manufacturers that are controlled or affiliated with unfriendly states. The list of entities subject to the decree includes governmental and regional authorities and organizations, state funds, state-controlled companies, strategically important organizations, and legal entities that are subjects of the critical information infrastructure of the Russian Federation. The decree orders the heads of these entities to assign cybersecurity responsibilities to their deputies and establish dedicated departments tasked with preventing and eliminating the consequences of hacking attacks and responding to computer incidents. Publication of the decree came just a few days after Nikolai Lyshin, deputy head of the Information Systems Department of Russian Defense Ministry, compared the presence of foreign software in Russia to the enemy tank. Imagine an enemy tank on the territory of Russian Federation. What would happen here now? But for some reason, we allow imported software to be here on our territory, Lyshin said earlier this week, adding that the current times make clear what course of action is needed. This declaration comes amid Russia's ongoing military offensive in Ukraine and the significant deterioration of Moscow's relations with the West. So, kind of crazy. But anyway, that's going on. I'm not going to read all the rest of it, but if we had a clue, we'd be doing much of the same thing here. But no. The only things that we've really had happen in this sphere, if you will, is basically predatory business. There were companies that were, made to where, like, government can't use their products, like DJI drones, for instance. And, that wasn't because of their security concerns. That's what they said. But what it was basically a predatory business thing, because they didn't want government tax money going and buying Chinese drones. And while that is somewhat understandable, you also have to understand we really don't have a lot of options here. We've got one, namely Autel, and they make an incredible product. Don't get me wrong. But like with anything else, the more players you get in the game, the more competition there is, and the more motivation and drive there is to keep creating more and more innovative and better products. And that's what's largely gone on. Autel is that company I mentioned, is doing a superb job. They're just really expensive. And it's a, United States company. But again, they're competing up against DJI drones, which you could essentially, and I'm not going to say we're necessarily comparing apples to apples here, but you could get like one of the, say the Air 2S or something like that versus, I don't know. I don't know what the Autel models are, but not the top one. Even like a 4K model or something, because I know they make an 8K one now too. But nonetheless, and that's just comparing it to the consumer level drones. You could step up to a more pro level drone like the new Mavic 3, but you're also talking about $5,000. So But that's, I think to get like a comparable Autel to something like the Mavic 3, you would be in the same ballpark, I do believe. By the time you bought the controller and the drone and batteries and all that, I think you'd probably be in about the same ballpark. And they're really, to be honest, I would imagine about the same capabilities. I'd have to dig into it. But anyway, you're going to see, I think, more and more of this happening with Russia for sure. They're going to really tighten things up. China doesn't have to tighten things up because they're already tight. They've been tight. And I do think you'll see the U.S. start making some moves, but we're already so far, when it comes to this stuff, man, a lot of people were sold out. And we were the ones that were really sold out at the very end of the thing. We're the ones that got sold out. But there are people all down the line that got sold out here. There is so much of your information and your data out there on the World Wide Web. And most of it is gotten by, different types of advertising and stuff like that. That's how they get away with doing it. And it's absolutely insane what they can legally do to track you and stuff like that. I mean, just take a look at Google, right? You say something with your phone next to you, and the next thing you know, you're scrolling through Facebook, and damn, there's an ad for the very same thing that you were talking about to somebody in the room. So, I'm telling you, we got sold out. And that's legal. Now, is it legal for me just to turn your microphone on your phone and listen to you while you're talking to the people in your home? Absolutely not. Not even remotely. Right? But Google can do it. Google can do it anytime they want. Just turn your microphone on and take a listen. Turn your camera on, take a look. Anytime they want. And they're not the only ones. I'm sure Facebook's got those parts in their contracts too, and it's insane. It is truly insane. Okay, NATO ready for long-term Ukraine support, says Stoltenberg. Now, last week I had said something to you about a law that Biden was going to be signing it or whatever, executive. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was actually Thursday that I talked about it. Possibly Wednesday. But I had pointed out in that article that part of that law was to last for like 5 years or something like that. And I thought that was awful interesting that they had put that in there, because that indicated to me that they expect this to be an ongoing situation. And it's not going to be wrapped up even remotely soon. So anyway, here comes this article. NATO is preparing to support Ukraine over a long period of time, for as long as the military conflict with Russia will last. Even if it's for months and years, the bloc's Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said on Thursday. Speaking to a youth summit in Brussels, Stoltenberg claimed that it is in the hands of the Russian President Vladimir Putin to stop the military action he sees started the war. Therefore, Stoltenberg said Western countries will continue to put maximum pressure on President Putin to end the war by sanctioning Moscow and providing economic and military support to Ukraine. It's a very unpredictable and fragile situation in Ukraine, but there's absolutely the possibility that this war will drag on and last for months and years, NATO's head explained. Taking this fact into account, the bloc and its allies are preparing to provide support over a long period of time, also help Ukraine to transit or move from old Soviet-era equipment to more modern NATO standard weapons and systems, Stoltenberg said. He emphasized that such a transition requires additional training for the Ukrainian forces and better coordination of efforts between Kiev supporting countries. In this context, he welcomed the U.S. proposal to conduct monthly tanks with allies from and outside NATO on Ukraine's self-defense. Now, it was talking about these weapons and how they're intending to transition them into more modern weapons. And there had been more than one channel that I'd heard kind of talk a little bit about this lately, and they'd both, or not both, I think there was more than two. One of them in particular, and I think it might be Southern Prepper 1, made a comment, and again, others had too, that, you know, they were going to have to be trained on this stuff. They weren't just going to be able to hand them this stuff, you know, going from old World War II equipment to more modern equipment. They're not going to just be able to hand it to them and then be able to operate the equipment. They're going to need training, right? And so at that point, nothing really was being said along those lines. However, now we do have some information on that. Now they're displaying flat out U.S. training Ukrainian troops, coming from the Pentagon. It says Ukrainian military personnel are receiving American training in Europe amid the conflict with Russia. Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby has confirmed. I can announce that the United States has commenced training with all the Ukrainian armed forces on key systems at U.S. military installations in Germany, Kirby said during a briefing on Friday. As part of the program, coordinated with Berlin, the Ukrainian troops are learning to operate artillery, radars, and armored vehicles. The new training effort in Germany and at other locations in Europe is in direct support of recent U.S. security assistance packages that are designed to help Ukraine win their battles today and build strength for tomorrow, the spokesman said, noting that the U.S. has committed $4.3 billion to the Ukrainian military since 2021. Kirby stressed that the Pentagon has no plans to send its instructors into Ukraine. The training that we'll do will be outside of the country, he said. But the possibility of servicemen inside Ukraine receiving American training virtually is being explored, he added. U.S. ally Britain is also helping Ukraine's troops to improve their combat skills, with UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson announcing last week, "We are currently training Ukrainians in Poland in the use of anti-aircraft defense, and actually in the UK in the use of armored vehicles." The statement drew condemnation from retired Polish General Waldemar, I don't even want to try that last one, who accused Johnson of revealing military secrets and advised him to think before speaking. Yeah, I'd have to spit all over the table to even try to say that last name. So, but yeah, so we are essentially there's the proof. We are training them on this newer equipment, and allegedly they're doing so outside of Ukraine, at least for now. Allegedly, maybe, ish. So, and the last tab I have open, then we'll get to some headlines. Get some more tea here. Like I say, it's not like things calmed down or anything like that, but they didn't massively escalate. Now, I don't have it in any of the tabs here, but Pelosi made a surprise visit. Anywhere that Pelosi shows up, it's probably going to be a surprise, because ain't nobody going to want her showing up at their door, right? So pretty much anywhere Pelosi goes is going to be a surprise visit. But this surprise visit happened to be in Ukraine, and so there's that. Sorry, I just had to throw the joke in there. I had to wedge it in somehow. Be like, damn, Aunt Pelosi's at the door again. Hide the silverware. I don't know what's wrong with me. All right. Depot with Western arms destroyed, says Moscow. The Russian Defense Ministry said on Sunday that it struck a supply of foreign weapons at a military airfield near the Black Sea port of Odessa in Ukraine. Supersonic Onyx missiles destroyed a hangar with weapons and ammunition received from the U.S. and European states. Defense Ministry spokesman Major General Igor Konishnikov. Man. And I know I'm saying that name wrong. I have to be. Konashenkov. I have no idea how he would pronounce it. Anyway, told a Daily Press, maybe Facebook. Oh, yep, he's probably banned from Facebook. You know how Facebook could give you how to spell out somebody's name? Anyway, he added that a runway was destroyed as well. The ministry also released a video of what it said was the missile launch. It wasn't immediately clear when exactly it took place, but the Odessa region's governor, Maxim Marchenko, claimed on Saturday that a Russian Bastion missile launched from Crimea destroyed the runway at a newly constructed Odessa airport. Konashenkov told the briefing that 7 Ukrainian military targets were hit by airstrikes, including 2 S-300 air defense missile batteries near the cities of Zaporizhzhia and Artizmov. I'm sure I got that way wrong, too. I don't know the rules for Russian language. Let's see. Russia claimed last week that it destroyed a logistics hub in Odessa where a batch of foreign weapons was stored. Ukraine, however, insisted that several Russian missiles struck residential buildings, killing civilians. Both Russia and Ukraine have denied striking civilian targets and accused each other of war crimes. So, so that is at least some of what's been going on. Getting a few vapes. My boss wouldn't give me a raise, so I'm taking a break on the clock. One second. All right. That's a little better. At least it's nice. Been able to open the windows up. That's awesome. All right. Pardon me. Starting with stuff I put out on Friday. Denmark halts COVID-19 vaccinations? You don't say. Explosions rock Kiev during UN chief's visit. U.S. Navy chief issues new China warning. British troops prepare for major foreign deployment. That should probably be something to pay attention to, huh? U.S. tech giant expects chip challenges to persist for 2 more years. Now remember back when we very first started talking, well, after that, we started talking about the chip shortages, and then we talked about it for a little while, and at that time, they were saying that, we should be able to start getting past this shortage. And I said then, nah, we're not going to get past this shortage for, best case scenario, a couple more years. Right? Huh. Imagine that. I'm just saying. I don't know. There's just patterns to all this stuff, man. And they don't ever come clean with us. They just don't. You have to figure it out. And there's patterns, and eventually you kind of start putting 2 and 2 and 8 and 9 together and get whatever the hell. But I knew that we weren't looking at a matter of months. I knew we were looking at a matter of years. And I'll say again, I'll reaffirm what I said before. If we ever return back to the way things were, because I don't think we're going to, which I've been recorded as saying before as well. So we'll see. I don't like being right on this stuff, but it's almost so predictable now. It's unreal. It really is. Let's see. Russia explains what U.S. Lend-Lease really means for Ukraine. U.S. comments on chemical attack accusations against Russia. Again, this was stuff I put out Friday. A Russian rights to host mass student gathering is suspended. Musk offloads Tesla shares. Austrian energy giant comments on replacing Russian gas. Sweden failed to integrate immigrants, said Prime Minister. China names U.S. goals in Ukraine. Poland seizes Russian gas assets. Musk unveils Twitter strategy. EU states offer Russian gas to neighbors, says media. Putin and Zelensky could attend same international event. Details of Hitler's last hours revealed. It's in the Inquirer. Russia cuts interest rate. NATO ready to support Ukraine. Oh, I did cover that. Russia makes sovereign bond payments. A report reveals extent of Poland's military aid to Ukraine. Berlin called on to stop sending weapons to Ukraine. A ruble hits 2-year high against the euro. More EU nations reject Moscow's gas supply terms. Again, we're still on Friday's stuff. U.S. government is running out of cash for Ukraine. Russian energy giant to quit foreign exchanges. Ukraine Lend-Lease proposed before war. Oh, here was an article that was pretty good. It was out of a local news article about gas prices and talking about whether or not they're going to go up again. And apparently they are. Supposedly, I guess, like last week, they jumped up, I guess, like around this area. I guess they jumped up like 40 cents or something, I heard. I don't know. But they're saying that expected to keep on going up and up and up. So, Kremlin accuses U.S. of trying to justify expropriation. Expropriation. Did I get it right? Expropriation. I can't. How do you say it? Say it. Oh, you don't know? Yeah, that word. EU prepares Russia oil embargo, says media. Israel to put on notice Iran may attack directly. Well, yeah. Crisis in Ukraine, result of U.S. desire to build unipolar world, says Russia. I'm pretty sure that they would rather have a bipolar world. UK seeks direct control of ex-colony. FBI spying on Americans near... Oh, I covered that one. Illinois schools urged to stop ticketing bad students. I talked about, I guess it was last week, I had talked about Illinois schools and how they were fining students. And I guess that getting media attention caused parents to raise a bunch of hell. So I have a feeling then for at least some of these schools, the fines are going to disappear. So I would be willing to bet that most parents had no idea. I would be willing to bet. It is unreal how little the parents know about what's going on with their children in school. Now, many parents now know a lot more than they did, but pre-COVID, wow. What they were getting away with in schools, mind-blowing. And in this article, I don't know what to say on this. The guy that writes this article, he can't be trusted. He's got no integrity. But then again, neither does, in my opinion, the current People's Convoy. So this is an article claiming that the convoy fired live rounds at anti-fascists in Oregon. I don't know that anybody fired any rounds. It does appear that this man did have a sidearm and that he did reach for his sidearm. That's whatever. I don't know what the laws are where he was at. I can't speak to that. But I saw no evidence, no way, no how, that this man ever fired that weapon. And I, honest to goodness, don't know for a fact that they were even fired upon. I don't think they were. Maybe there was paintball guns involved. Maybe. But as far as live rounds, I think you got nothing but drama queens on both sides of this trying to inflate and exaggerate. So, and anyway, this was the first thing that I shared out yesterday, so. Oh, man. And continuing on with the news I shared out yesterday. EU border chief forced to step down. World on brink of commodity shock, says a study. Ukrainian warplane shells Russia, says governor. A new Freedom Convoy-style rally in Canada. France shuts down 50% of nuclear reactors amid energy crunch. Because that's brilliant. Ukraine sets out how security guarantees could work. Let's see. Brazil violated ex-President Lula's rights, says the United Nations. Oh, and if there's anything to prove that how serious this entire situation is and how we're going to be nuked at any moment's notice, right here, Russia, to be cut off from gummy bears. We are screwed now. We are absolutely screwed. So anyway, Turkey to boycott NATO war games, says media. China's factory and services activity loses steam. Well, just boil some more water, you'll be okay. Calm down. NATO weighs in on a threat to Ukraine's neighbor. Russia has set space station exit timetable. Climate change may cause future pandemics, says a study. Damn, you guys scream kind of loud. Climate change may cause future pandemics, says a study. Oh, wow, I shared that twice. I heard you scream again. France promises more weapons for Ukraine. What about us, homie? Australia accused of double standards. I mean, yeah, French could send us something. I don't know. Australia accused of double standards. Russia offers India way of bypassing Western sanctions, says media. Syria grants amnesty for terrorist crimes. Yeah. I did it right. Moscow outlined... but I can't read that. Moscow outlines when frozen dialogue with U.S. may restart. Probably when you unthaw it. Speaking of that, make me a chicken pot pie. Germany takes Italy to UN's highest court. What? What is the first thing I wouldn't talk to you. I was telling Moscow, make me a damn chicken pot pie. Hear that, Putin? And make it a chicken pot pie. The beef ones just aren't right. Serbia promises decision on Russia sanctions, and I'll be expecting that any moment now. Right on the top of an avant-garde. Twitter staff complained about transphobe Elon Musk, says media. Besieged Ukrainian commander appeals to Erdogan for help. Let's see. Angelina Jolie visits Western Ukraine. Bill Gates discusses cooperation with Pakistan Army Chief. Now, does anybody find that stuff just kind of peculiar? I don't know. Former colony resists direct UK rule. German FM heckled during Ukraine speech. Oh, we are to this morning's news. That I put out this morning. The heckling was this morning. Well, I don't know if the actual heckling was, but my reporting on the heckling was this morning. That's what we need more of on this planet. More heckling. More political heckling. Why don't we turn Congress into, like, let's make a deal, and everybody show up in just a really bizarre outfit, right? I mean, it'd be better than the let's make a deal they got going on now. Let's see. U.S. and UK team up against China. Finland prepares to live without Russian gas, says media. Russian ruble proves resilient to external shocks. Well, yeah. I mean, they've actually got their currency backed by something. It helps. Russian ruble. Pelosi makes surprise visit to Kiev. I mentioned that earlier. Again, any place she arrives to is a surprise. Everybody's, damn it, she's here again. Hide the wine. Dozens of civilians evacuated from besieged Azovstal plant, says Russia. And I know that ain't remotely how that's pronounced. China summons banks over sanctions fears, says media. Germany names conditions for lifting Russia sanctions. Japan molds classifying its key defense document, says media. Gazprom reveals increase of gas supplies to China. Ukraine neighbor hosts major NATO war games. Let's see. Fire breaks out at Russian military site near Ukraine, says governor. Another one of those amazing fires. Depot with Western... Oh, I covered that one. German chancellor explains caution on arming Ukraine. Warren Buffett calls Wall Street a gambling parlor. Putin signs... Oh, yeah, okay, that's a different one. Putin signs law on data sharing with unfriendly states. And then I covered this one here, which included the same thing. Biden mocks himself and roasts Trump. Mayday. Oh, cover that one. All life ingredients is found on space rocks. That's right. All of life's ingredients. All of them. No, they didn't miss one. No, everyone. I don't know where to take that. I mean, do I buy that? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I would have to dig, but I don't know. 10 EU countries quietly buying gas with rubles, Hungary says. A U.S. lawmaker seeks to bring American troops to Ukraine. Ukraine and UN confirm evacuation of civilians from Mariupol's besieged Azovstal. Turkey promises to back NATO in case of slightest attack. Bill Gates calls for global pandemic task force. And a pregnant man emoji. Let's see. Several cars of... Oh, I covered that. Oh, and that was the last thing. So, I guess those are the headlines. Imagine that. I'm so proud of myself. I'm going to go find me a medal and pin it to my chest. What? I'd eat a cookie, but we don't have any. So, there's that. No, you can't pin the medal on my chest. Last time you did it, I still got a mark. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here so I can get beaten to death with a crutch. And, we'll see you in hell. Oh, anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I do hope everybody has a good evening. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. I'll try not to be as much of a smart ass. No guarantees, no promises. But I hope to see you guys then. So, as always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.